Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chase and this is All Things Rome. Today we are looking at a homage to the Omega Speedmaster. Now specifically, we are looking at the Pagani Design, the reference number 1701. Now this is a direct homage to the Omega Speedmaster. There is no doubt about it. In fact, everything is very, very, very close. I would almost say they're interchangeable, except the movement. The movement in this watch is a mecha quartz as opposed to a manual wind. Now, I'm going to explain at the end why this watch has a place in the market and why perhaps if you want to get the Omega Speedmaster, you should get this watch first. That being said, this is part number 1 in a 3-part series. These series parts videos may not be in a row because I have a lot of videos on my plate right now. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to do the Pagani Design 1701 right now. Then I'm going to do part 2, which is going to be the Omega Speedmaster 1970. That is my buddy's watch. He's going to allow me to review that. Then the third watch is going to be a direct comparison of the two. How does the Pagani Design, which is 120 bucks, hold up to the Omega Speedmaster Professional itself? So let's just flip the camera around and dive right into the review. Okay, and here it is, the Pagani Design 1701. Now it's going to be a little difficult to get a really good read on that dial. It is a matte black dial, but the issue is it does have the sapphire curved crystal. It doesn't really appear to have any air coating, so bear with me as we go through this review. Now, clearly this is a direct homage of the Omega Speedmaster Professional, to include the ceramic tachymeter around the outside, which is really good to see. It's really good that they use ceramic as opposed to stainless steel, because ceramic is going to stay looking new for far, far longer. In fact, it's going to look new for basically ever. It's really hard to scratch ceramic. Now it does have subdials, you see right here at the 9, at the 6, and at the 3. Now the subdial at the 6 o'clock, you can see, is a ticking second hand. Again, this is not an automatic or manual wind watch. This is a mecha quartz movement. We'll go over that in just a second. Right there at the 3 o'clock position is a 24-hour subdial. Right here at the 9 o'clock position is a 1-hour reader when it comes to the actual chronograph itself. Now, let's just go over some quick measurements of this watch. This watch is a 40 millimeter in diameter watch, so it really hits that sweet spot for most people wearing watches. Most wrist sizes that are small, medium, or large will fit a 40 millimeter watch, so this is directly in that sweet spot. Now this does have a thickness of 13 millimeters, and really a lot of the thickness comes from that screw down case back, giving this 100 meters of water resistance. Yes, 100 meters of water resistance on this chronograph, and this curved sapphire crystal. You can actually see there's a lip of that sapphire that just gives it a little bit more thickness, but honestly it actually sits pretty slim on the wrist. I'll show you that in just a few minutes. Lug width right here is 20 millimeters, so honestly you can fit any strap, any bracelet, anything on this. The most popular size for a watch strap is 20 millimeters. This is 20 millimeters. 316L stainless steel case, really nice brushing along the side. High polished edges right there, high polished edge around the bezel right there, and it does sort of match in with the bracelet. The bracelet is a multi-finish with brush and high polish. You can see there's brushing on the outer links. There's small middle links right here between the first, I would say this is a 5 link. So the second and fourth is going to be high polished. The 1, the 3, and the 5 are all brushed, to include the outer edges are also brushed. But that high polish in the center really does give it a nice pop, especially when you have things like the finishing of the chamfered edges right here with the brushing right here along the side. Everything just sort of blends together quite nicely. This does have a proper milled clasp, really good to see at this price point. And speaking of looking at the back of the watch, you can see that they actually went full bore on this space watch. You can see right there, laser etched into the rear is looks like maybe a Saturn V, but it is a spaceship right on the back. So they definitely went with the space theme. This is an homage of the original space watch, so it sort of is what it is. Looking at the back, it does have solid inklings right here, solid links on the bracelet. These are push pins, which really aren't a big deal. The bracelet was extremely easy to adjust. Does have 3 levels of micro adjustment right here on the actual clasp itself. Now, when it comes to stuff like this, when it comes to these micro adjustments that are not on the fly, my recommendation is always have something like a safety pin or a really small paper clip, something you can use to adjust it on the fly, because honestly, when it comes to watches that you can't adjust on the fly, you're stuck with a few different scenarios. It's either going to be sort of loose on the wrist, and then you go outside. Let's say it's hot outside, you go outside, your wrist slightly swells, then it fits perfectly. Or if it's perfectly inside, you go outside where it's warm, and then it fits a little tight. Or if it's perfectly and you're in and out of a AC building or inside of your AC car, and it's loose and tight and loose and tight. And honestly, it just sucks not having that something like a glide lock clasp, but it sort of is what it is. Now, honestly, it's not too bad. I've been wearing this thing for a few weeks, and I do not review a watch that I don't wear for at least 1 to 2 weeks, so I can give you guys an honest review of the watch itself. Honestly, this thing is really good for what it is. Honestly, it's really good for what it is. Inside is a Seiko VK63 Mega Quartz, and Mega Quartz means that it is a mixture between a quartz movement and a mechanical movement. Now you can see right here at the 6 o'clock position that the second hand is ticking. Now with the ticking second hand, that is a quartz watch. However, when you hit this push bumper at the 2 o'clock, you can see right there that the counting hand, that kind of second hand, but the counter hand right there is ticking at 5 beats a second. So it's not as smooth as a mechanical watch or an automatic watch or a manual wind. However, it is very, very similar. So it sort of gives you the feel of a mechanical watch with all the reliability of a quartz without having to reset it constantly. Now the dial on this is a matte black dial. Honestly, it's done quite well. It's really hard for me to show you, especially with the light in here in the studio, but it is a very nice matte black. It does have a date right there between the 4 and 5 o'clock position, and they did it the right way because it is a black date wheel with white lettering, so everything just matches perfectly on this watch. Everything is done extremely, extremely well. Now let's go ahead and toss this on my 7¼ inch wrist. Now here's the watch on my 7¼ inch wrist. You can see that it actually fits pretty well. The footprint, the lug to lug on this, my calipers are not working right now, but the footprint on this is extremely small. I'd say about 50 millimeters or under, but this is a 40 millimeter watch. It fits really nice in that sweet spot right there. Honestly, the bracelet on this, because they're smaller length bracelets, it fits around the wrist very, very well, and I really do love that milled clasp. Everything on this watch just feels high quality, even though this watch is only 120 bucks. It's really hard to even justify the fact that this is $120 and not buy this watch right off the bat. If you guys are interested in something like an Omega Speedmaster and you just are hesitant in pulling the trigger, get this first, because $120, even for people who, like me, are looking in the more affordable end of watches, it's really hard to find a better quality watch for cheaper. Yes, this is not an automatic. Yes, this is not a manual wind. However, you know, a Mega Quartz is a good solid in between if you don't wear the watch all the time and you want something that has the look and the feel. Well, you got it right here. It doesn't fit too high on the wrist, fits relatively comfortably, and honestly, I would say you'd be hard pressed, especially with 100 meters of water resistance, which means you can wear this any day, all day long. A lot of people get confused with water resistance. A lot of these watches are 30 meters or 50 meters, which means 30 meters does not mean 30 meters in the water. 30 meters means don't even wash your hands with the watch on. 50 meters means, man, you can kind of jump into a pool, but stay along the surface. 100 meters means you can jump in a pool, you can swim along, you can snorkel with this. Not a big deal. This is a great everyday watch. Really hard to not keep going back to the fact that it has sapphire, really nice finishing, really nice bracelet, has a proper milled clasp on the back, and honestly, yes, this is a direct homage, but 120 bucks, you'd be hard pressed to find something better. Except a little bit more expensive, you'd find something like a Seagull, right? But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this. For all those in the comments who would say the Seagull. Now, what do you guys think about what I said? Do you like it? Do you hate it? You know, honestly, I told you in the beginning of the video, there is a place for these homage style watches. And I tell you that there's a place because specifically for a long time, I lusted after the Tudor Black Bay. And honestly, I wish I would have gotten homage, either a Pagani Design or a Benmar or Neymar or whatever one of the other Chinese brands are, a Harness, right? Whatever one of these brands are. I wish I would have gotten the homage first, put it on my wrist, wore it for a month, and then decided then whether or not to spend the thousands of dollars on a luxury watch. Honestly, I think a lot of people get sucked into the idea of having a luxury watch. They like it's the idea. They like the feeling of, oh my God, the chase. I really love this watch. I really want a Omega Speedmaster. I want an Omega Speedmaster Professional. I'm going to spend $4,000 or $4,500 on an Omega Speedmaster. Maybe I'll buy a brand new one for $6,000 right now. Maybe I'll buy a used one for $3,000. Doesn't matter. $3,000 is a lot of money for someone like me to spend on a watch. In no way am I wealthy in any way at all, shape, or form. So for me, to buy a watch that's $3,000, I want to make sure I love it. Well, the issue is that when I got the Tudor Black Bay, I lusted after that thing so much. I put it on my wrist. I loved it for about 3 to 4 weeks, and then I didn't put it back on my wrist. Every time I put it on my wrist, I freaking hated it. I hated it. You know, you have that honeymoon phase where you're like, man, I really love this watch, and then your real feelings start to come out, sort of like in a relationship, and then you just don't like it anymore. Honestly, I would say get an homage, get the feel of the watch, get the look of the watch, and then make a determination then, hey, after that 30 days of honeymoon period is worn off for the homage, do you still want the luxury? If so, get the luxury then. But there is a place on the market for homages, specifically if you're looking at higher end and you don't have a whole lot of money, and before you throw down all that money, get the homage first. I'm telling you, it's going to save you a lot of heartache in the future. Now, if you like videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment of the content you guys would like to see on this channel. I have a lot of luxury videos coming up in the future. Not only just the Omega Speedmaster, I have a Tag Heuer Carrera on my desk. I have a Cartier tank on my desk to review. I have so much stuff going on that honestly, I just don't even know where to begin, but I got at least the next 30 videos lined up for every 2 to 3 days. It's going to be throwing them out there. So please, guys, make sure you guys are hitting that notification bell so you can be notified when I drop those videos. Also, make sure you guys are leaving a comment down below of the content you guys would like to see. This is all things random, mostly watches with random stuff mixed in between. I do have some GPS systems I will be reviewing. I also have a 2-liter Smatco dive tank coming in the mail to review, so there is going to be some dive equipment coming up in the future, and I will see you guys in the next one.